jaws of life.
That'd be a graphic scene.
Until they bring the jaws of life, you stay.
We got Chris Broussard back with us. Broussard, time to run the fast break. All right, here we go. The Sixers got Joel Embiid back Saturday night, 24-8. Philly got a win over the league's worst team in Minnesota. Hey, Chris Broussard, what do you make of the Sixers now that Embiid is back?
Jenna, I love the antics, I love the enthusiasm, and obviously the great play that Embiid brings back to them. But I think of the Sixers what I thought of them before he got hurt. They're battling Milwaukee for the second best place team in the Eastern Conference. That is as simple as that. They're great. But guess what? Brooklyn is better. There's nobody in the league that can beat Brooklyn that's not named Brooklyn. If Brooklyn doesn't win it, it's because Brooklyn beat itself. Simple as that. If they're healthy and Kyrie doesn't take a sabbatical during the playoffs, they're good. All right, so Philly, I like you. You're a great team, but you're second or third best in the East.
Wow, this isn't about Embiid anymore. This is about what you just said, Chris. Like, now you're finally coming around. That was a hard stance. Like, you put your flag in the ground and said, the Nets are the best in the NBA, not just the East. Is that what I heard? Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I've been saying that.
Wow.
I said that a couple weeks ago on this show. Yes.
Listen, I'm glad the Big is back. They were 7-3 without him, and now the best player on the planet is back. He needs to get a little bit healthier. He needs to knock off the rust. So now we won't have that asterisk when we say, you know, oh, the Nets. They swept everybody in the East because there was nobody there. No, Embiid is back, the best player on the planet. So no asterisk here.
I'll actually make this about the Sixers, not the Nets. But it should be noted, Brandon, you're right. Broussard did plant his flag, 2021 flag, very firmly in the ground right there. It's right next to his 2020 Clippers flag, which has gone unclaimed and is tattering about in the wind. And they're going to age similarly. Now, what I make of this is that Embiid came back just in time. Because if you look at what Philly's got, he's going to have about a week to get himself in shape. They only have one back-to-back over the next 2.5 weeks, so that'll be good. Because they have a brutal stretch starting a week from now. Dallas, Brooklyn, LA, Golden State, Phoenix, and then Milwaukee twice. Because of that stretch coming up, you needed Embiid back. And I know everyone's talking about Brooklyn. I get that. But here's the point. The point is that whomever gets the 1 seed in the East is going to be at a massive advantage because Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia, if you're not the one, you're going to have to play one of those other teams in round 2. And Philly played well enough without Embiid that they're still in first place. That's massive. And yes, Brandon, you heard me say Phoenix.
Okay.
To be clear, no one said Phoenix isn't good. No one said Phoenix isn't good. We simply said Phoenix can't win the title. That's all we said.
You knew
Phoenix
I was coming,
is a good team.
Nick, you knew I was coming.
I was like, oh, my son's radar. Yes, Phoenix is a fine team. They just can't win the title, Jenna.
Okay.
That's the story, though.
Does that make you feel better, Brandon? Did he do it? All right, good.
Yes, 100%.
All right, so we teased Brooklyn a lot. Let's dive in a little bit. The moment Brandon has been waiting for, the moment Brooklyn's been waiting for. The big three might all be in the starting lineup tonight against the Knicks. Durant expected to make his return. These three, they've only played 7 games together this season. Broussard, what do you expect to see tonight if KD, Kyrie, and James Harden are all on the court together?
Well, look, considering that the Knicks have, according to Julius Randle, a big 15, I don't know. Maybe the Nets could be in trouble going against their crosstown rival. Leave it to the Knicks. You know, they reach 500 and start talking trash. But anyway, to the Nets, I expect them to play well. They're 6-1 in those games you mentioned, Jenna. 6-1 when they have the big three. Durant, more than most 30-point scorers, can fit in fairly seamlessly. He doesn't need a ton of shots to get his points. He doesn't over-dribble. He can catch and shoot. He's a mid-range assassin. So I think it'll go fairly well. And now it's about them playing together consistently and building themselves up and getting their chemistry right heading into the playoffs. But I expect the big three to play well together. Harden's the key, though, with his unselfishness. running the floor, running the show.
Yeah, I expect three of the best players in the NBA to dominate the Knicks tonight. I expect all three of them to go over 25 points. That's what I expect, Wilds. I expect Kevin Durant to come in, knock the rust off. You got Embiid that just came back from this knee injury. He went 24 for 8. So now we're talking about KD. What is he going to do? Let's watch.
Okay, so I think it'll be interesting if it's a close game or a blowout and how much Durant is going to play, Nick. I think if it's close, Durant's going to tell Steve Nash, like, hey, let me back in the game. So I think if you're a Brooklyn fan, you're hoping for a blowout, obviously, not only because you want to win the game by a large margin, but that you want KD to come back slowly, Nick.
Well, you mentioned Nash, and that is the man who I think is most interesting with the Nets right now in what he has to juggle. I don't know how many people have been paying attention to them the last few games since they got Aldridge, but all of a sudden, DeAndre Jordan, back-to-back DNP coaches' decisions. I wonder how that's going to sit with everyone when DeAndre was initially supposed to be the third of their original big three. Nicholas Claxton, who's played great for them, he all of a sudden is getting 5-7 minutes a game because Aldridge is in there. Now you have Durant, who in short order should be playing 30 to 35 minutes a game. So I'm interested to watch how Nash juggles all of that. I'm also interested to wave goodbye to something because something's gone. It ended a couple days ago, and now it's officially, we can wave goodbye. The James Harden MVP momentum. Sad but true. Now that Kevin Durant's back and James Harden's no longer the best guy on his own team, it's going, okay, let's check it in 2 weeks.
Not necessarily, Nick.
Oh, of course.
Not necessarily.
What do I expect to see tonight if the Nets' big three are all on the court together? What I expect to see is what I expect not to see. MVP James Harden, Brandon. I think that's gone now. Not the best guy on his own team, hard to win the MVP.
This is James Harden's team. He is the point guard. It doesn't matter who you are and what team you're on. The point guard runs the show. That's James Harden's team.
Nick, Durant is historically the best player, but he hasn't been the best player this year. It's as simple as that. And if Harden takes a step back, you're right. Then his chances of the MVP will diminish.
Yeah,
but if he continues to run the show and get you 24 points, 11 dimes, and he's the one setting the table for everybody, he still has a shot.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I
think the way they play is going to be changed drastically. You got the second best player in the league in Durant. You got to run things through him. I mean, it'd be crazy not to, Jack.
Well, let's see how many minutes he actually plays tonight. Let's finish up with a couple of veterans finding new homes. You got Boogie Cousins signing a 10-day deal with the Clippers. Isaiah Thomas, who hasn't played in over a year, signed a 10-day deal with the Pelicans. Broussard, which was the most interesting signing, Boogie or IT?
Jenna, neither one of these floats my boat. But if you force me to pick one, then I'm going to go with Isaiah Thomas. Because Boogie, Boogie, even when Boogie was a great individual player, he didn't really contribute to winning. So I don't think Boogie gives you anything. As far as Isaiah, he will put up numbers. He hasn't played a game in over a year. He's only played 84 games in the past 4 years. But if he's given the chance, and they've got a lot of injuries in New Orleans, so he should get minutes, he will put up numbers. He averaged 12 points in 23 minutes last year for Washington. So if he gets his minutes, he will give you some points. So I'm going with Isaiah.
I'm going to go with Boogie. It don't float my boat. It may roll my boat. I'm trying to find a nice little analogy there. I can't find one. But I got to go with Boogie because this is the team, the Clippers, they're primed and ready to go win it and win the West, excuse me. I like this. You know, obviously, this seems to be the Clippers still in the page out of LeBron James' book. Last year, they went and they got two bigs. They went out and they got, Dwight Howard. They had the big boy over there as well, and McGee. And now you got Ibaka, who's been banged up a little bit. And then you got Zubac, who's sitting there, he's playing well. And then you add Cousins. They're just going for depth. I like this for the Clippers.
Okay. Both of these signings float my boat. I love the IT signing. I root for him because Danny Ainge sort of treated him, let's say, poorly. Sorry, Jen, it's the truth. You sort of treated him wrong. So I always root for IT. How is he going to fit in with Stan Van's like defensive intensity? No clue. So that's what's intriguing there. And Nick, be careful. The Clippers had a little like, what's our identity? It's Kawhi's kind of soft-spoken, playoff P. We don't really know what's in. Now you got Rondo, tough, Boogie tough. Some real like emotional intensity there. So I like Boogie as well, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to focus on the Boogie side of things. And Wilds mentioned earlier, take integrity is the foundational bedrock this show is built upon. And I have to admit, I'm a little nervous for the Lakers now, for the first time in a couple years. And here's why. I have been short selling the Clippers and to great profit over the last 2 seasons because they don't have a point guard and they don't have a center. But what I'm hearing is, if you guys saw the Space Jam trailer, you know that portal LeBron's kid went through? The Clippers got it, and they got Rondo dropped in, and they got the 2011 Rondo, and they got Boogie dropped in, they got the 2016 Boogie. And if you have the 2011 Rondo at point guard and the 2016 Boogie at center, this Clippers team is dangerous. But if LeBron can get that back in time, and we have to live in 2021, then the Clippers still don't have a point guard, and they still don't have a center, so I do think they'll be fine. But I got to check and see how the Space Jam rights work and the portal. It's a problem. So that's my concern, Jenna, because once upon a time, this could have been dynamic. What's up, Brandon?
Can they just go back to last year in the bubble for Rondo? They don't need to go back to 2011. They just need playoff Rondo from last year, and they'll be fine.
Rondo, yes.
Yeah, I think I actually